Hello everyone, if you've been hesitating and wondering where to start and how to use ArchiCAD in your practice, this video is designed for you. It is also for those who have prior experience with ArchiCAD and are seeking to achieve exceptional floor plan drawings. This video will guide you through the process of creating an amazing floor plan from scratch, even if you lack experience or skills, leveraging the out-of-box capabilities of ArchiCAD without any significant expenses. We will craft a floor plan that mirrors what you see on your screen, encompassing all the essential tools for creating professional floor plan drawings, especially tailored for beginners. Join me as I walk you through the most efficient and optimal process for creating remarkable floor plans in ArchiCAD within a short span of time. To ensure your time is valued, I've segmented this video into parts to cover a range of tools and features that are immensely beneficial for both current and future use of ArchiCAD. We'll kick off by envisioning the end result, preparing a layout for our floor plan drawing with a minimalistic title block. We'll then dive into the creation of the actual floor plan using 3D tools such as walls, slabs, stairs, doors, windows, and more. Annotations for our drawings will be added using the label tool, exploring effective methods to label and schedule our spaces with legend utilizing zone tools, schedules, and graphic override combinations to achieve fantastic graphics. This will ensure that our drawing exudes quality and is easily readable. Without any further ado, let's get started. But before we dive in, I'll kindly ask for your support by simply clicking the subscribe button, liking and sharing this video if you find it useful. To start this demonstration, I have a sketch here that I've prepared for this tutorial. So check the link on the description to download this sketch in order for you to follow along with my steps. So the first thing that we need to do is to set up our project. So I'll go to the window menu at the top bar of your interface. So that's where you find most of your menus there. So I'll go under here. Let's go for options and then find project preferences, and then I'm going to set my working units because it's so critical in making sure that you are using the right standard. So the units depends on country to country. In my region, I'm using millimeters, so I'll leave it as millimeters, but you can just change according to your region standards there. And then area unit, I'll leave it at a square meter. Decimals, I'm going to leave it at two decimals, and then the volume is going to be measured in cubic meters, as you can see there. And angle unit, I'll leave it as decimals as well. The layout is going to be on millimeters, and yeah, you can pretty much go through this process and making sure that this reflect the standard of your region, and then hit OK to apply the changes. So another thing that is important again is the information of the project. So information such as the name of the project, the description of the project, the client details, even the drawer or the drafter, stuff like that. These are information that is key to the project, and ArchiCAD has a better way of handling this information. But if you go to the file menu there and then go down below, you'd find info, and let's open project info. In this section, you can increase this window by stretching it from the edges like this, both for any side. I can just do that. But if you look at this window, has been divided into some sections that are for project details, site details, building, and so forth. So this information needs to be keyed in. I'll start just go through some few options there. I would start with project details. Project name, of course, it will be let's say your first floor plan, and then description will be your first floor plan in ArchiCAD with Mesolite Visual. that's basically how you can optimize. And you have these 3 dots in order if you want to paste information here or expand your descriptions. And this also you can use this downward arrow and to increase the size of this window in case you want more working area. So I'll just hit OK or cancel if you are done. So obviously your project will have an ID. This depends on how you schedule or order your project or filing your project into your system. So this one I would say 01, the code will be 01-23, project number will be A, let's say A 1 2, project status, this will be conceptual, right, or whatever, or approval, or for municipality approval, stuff like that. And then you can have keywords here, notes, whatever. And then you can go down here under contact details, you can fill in your company details here, your technician full name, and so forth. Even your contacts there. You have also the client section. You can let's fill in the client's full name by clicking on these 3 dots to expand our window. Ultimately we'll get this kind of parameters to fill in the information. We have a prefix title there. I'll say Mr. / whatever, stuff like this. Is it how you miss whatever? And then given name, I'll say ArchiCAD. The family name, let's say users, and then hit OK to apply the changes. And you can go ahead and fill in some other information like the contact details. So once you are done, you can hit OK to apply the changes or to store this information within your project. One useful feature is I can export and import this kind of information. There are information that are standard across all the project information, such as the contact details. I'm sure you would have only or you have a standard way of sharing your information. I think you can also export this and import it into a new project. I find this very useful. Some of the information here, they will have to change depending on the project needs, but the contact details, parameters or information will stay the same. So hence this export and import feature will be beneficial. So I would hit OK to apply the changes. Once I'm done with this settings, I'll go here on the left side of our interface, which is the project browser. Some call it project navigator, some project browser. You can also expand the window by stretching the edge here if you feel you want more working area. Yeah, and then it's been divided again into some parts. We have the project map, the view map, and layout book, and then the publisher set. On the view map, this is where the structure, this is where the views or viewpoints of our project are being located, and they are structured in a tree structure. As you could see, we have stories, and then we have some series of stories under story. We have sections, and can have some series of sections under the section. We have elevations, different views or different elevations for our project. We have interior elevations, we have 3D documents, we have 3D viewing options, a perspective or axonometry. So we also have the schedules here where we can list elements or components of our project. We have surfaces as well. We can manage the project index, which is basically our changing list, the revision list, drawing list, issuing history of our drawings, stuff like that. This is beneficial to understand, and within this section, the project map, this information, it depends on what you do on the model. Anything that you're gonna do here from the tools is going to be captured there. That's the mainly or primary role for the view map, is to capture the information about your model that is being assembled using these tools. right on the left section, we have different tools here. We have design tool, viewpoints, and documents tool. So we'll get that to that point later once we've done with the project navigator, project browser. So another section within the project browser is the view map. The view map is more or less the same as the project map, but the difference here it doesn't capture, it's you, the user, who is going to store the information about your project. So instead of capturing the floor plans, you are the one supposed to come and store and customize this views or viewpoints from the view map, or from the project map, sorry. So the difference is that here you can customize and have different parameters on your view. You can store, you can define the settings of your view, unlike on the project map. The project map, its primary role is to capture the information about your model or whatever activity or action you are making within your file is being stored, captured, and stored here. So under the view map, like I said, this is basically by storing and customizing our views. Okay, and then we have the layout book. Layout book, obviously we need to share our drawings or our model, our design. So that's the section that we're going to create sheets that are dependent on the masters to host our title block. So if you open one of these, let's say here, you would see we have a title block. This is title block from Graphisoft, the company that owns the ArchiCAD. So they've created this as a default from A4 to A1, which is landscape. So this is pretty much good for whatever project to start with. And I will also show you how to create your own or place or import your own title block if you're coming from AutoCAD or different software. But you see how you can migrate your title blocks into your ArchiCAD project. All right, I want to leave the structure of ArchiCAD intact the way it is. So under masters, I won't override this. I'll create my own title block and then my own master to host my own title block. So what I'll do, I'll go here under here. This is a section where you can create a new layout, which is this part, a new layout that is going to be dependent on the master. The layout is the one that gonna host all your drawings. So I'm going to create a new master first, which is this, by clicking on this grayed out icon with a plus. If you click on it, it will say new master. It will give you the name and size parameter. So what I'll say, just say MS Beam, which is the name of the master, and then I can come here under size and choose the size that I want this master to be. So A1 is okay. Metric, if you're using imperial, you can choose the imperial version. So it will give you the printable area of your master, which is going to be 811 by 564, and you have the parameters for your margin. If you want, you can set them to a different or a custom the dimensions. In this case, I'll just give them 10 millimeters of margin. It's okay. So if you go down below here, we have a display master layout. We can say above layout or below. In this case, we want to have it underlaid in our drawings instead of above. Okay, it makes sense. It makes sense if it's below your drawings, because you really don't want to interfere with the drawings. So if you move down here under drawing placement, we also have options to place our drawings. Auto arrange new drawings, or we can align and assign drawings to a grid. This will depend on you. So you can also set up a grid by coming here on this part and set up the grids on how you want your drawings to be placed. So it's also important. I don't want to overwhelm you with a lot of settings. These are not necessary from the beginner point of view. At the beginner point of view, you want just to create drawings, and you can also set them manually if you want as well. So I don't think it's super beneficial to have your drawings set on auto grid or arrangement. So I'll just hit cancel or OK, and then let's hit on create. we have now our new master created, as you could see, with the margin of 10 millimeters around the border. So what I need to do is to import the title block. So it will depend on how you been working. So if you're coming from AutoCAD, maybe you would want to import that DWG file or drawing into here. If whatever other software you've been using, you can export it or save it as a PDF and then bring it here again. So we have multiple ways of doing it. So in terms of this title block, I have let me just show you. This is what I've prepared for this demonstration, guys. You can check the link also on the description to download the pack of the title blocks. So let me just open the folder so that you can see the pack. This is the pack. It has 5 different title blocks: minimalistic, contemporary, for modern use offices. So you also have, it comes as a PDF. You have ArchiCAD files. It comes as a DWG. If you want, also we have an Illustrator files, which is a good thing to have. All right. So what I need to do, if you have your title block in PDF, you just drag and drop this file into your ArchiCAD. Sorry, just drag and drop it there. Perfect. So from here, you'd see ArchiCAD automatically, it will give or place a title to this. It will treat it as if it's the drawing. Okay, so what you need to do is to remove this title block, title or drawing title, sorry. You can remove it by coming here on the info box. This section, you see, if you scroll your mouse like this, forward or even backward, you would see this information info section with parameters that are specifically for the actively selected element. So if you were to select a wall, for an example, a wall element within your file, it will only display the parameters for the walls. So it's dynamic because it depends on what is being selected within your ArchiCAD. So what I need to do is to scroll down and find a parameter for drawing title, which is this one. I will set this to no title. It will eliminate that drawing title from my drawing. So you see, it's more like it's not fitting to the size of the A1. So what I need to do is to Control D in your keyboard to drag or move. Drag is to move in ArchiCAD. So I want to drag it or move it from this point. I'll pick it from this point and then align it with this corner so that I can rescale it to fit within my drawing or within my title block. But I believe that because you see the edges of this, I can align it with the paper instead of the margins. Okay, let's Control D again and then let's place it there. Perfect. I think it's now perfectly aligned, as you could see. So one thing that I need to do from here is to explode this and then to access the elements, this drawing. So I'll right click, then find explode into current view. This will explode my ArchiCAD, my PDF into lines or into 2D drawing. So you would get this promptly, this window asking you to keep original elements after exploding, which is always been checked. I would hit OK to achieve that. You see now we have a different display there. While this is being selected, you can just delete to delete the background, which is the PDF. So now you have this as a 2D elements. Okay, as you can see, 2D elements. You can replace this and put your logo. And I don't want to place the scale bar on the layout because it has to be in order for it to work properly or effectively, it is to be placed on the drawing itself, on the ground floor view or on the blend view. So we'll delete this, but it's been grouped. So if you select, it will select everything, but we just want to delete that. So we need to come here on the top of your interface and find this suspend group. Let's activate that window. Now we can select only this and get rid of it. Perfect. So we have that. So what you can do now is to set the parameters or this to extract information from our project info. Remember, we were keying in that information here on the project info. So this is where it gets useful, because we can use what you call auto text feature for our text and extract information from our project info. Sorry about that. So for an example, let's say the layout ID. Sorry about that. I would open the text editing tool by just double clicking in your text, so I can select it. Then there is this button where it says insert auto text. If you click on it, it will give you these parameters. These are the parameters from your project. So I'll just want the project details, right? And then find the project ID. Is it the project ID or the layout ID? I think in this manner we're looking at the drawing ID, isn't it? We have the layout here, and then let's find the layout ID parameter, and then go down below here and add, or you can just double click on it to edit. Okay, so once it's added, you can see it's been grayed out with the background. So if you click outside and then come and create a new sheet, right? Let's create a new sheet that will be based on this master. So I'm gonna come down below here and create a new layout. So this layout, I'll just give it a name, your first floor plan, right? And then under master layout, we need to choose or key in the master layout that we're using, which is MS Beam in this case, and then go down below and create. So you see now it's underlaid the or it's referencing the MS Beam master, and now you see the drawing name, it extracts automatically the ID for our layout. So our layout, because ArchiCAD will arrange your drawings automatically and give it an ID. So even if I create a new, let's create a new layout again under this, so it's now a 0.4 layout. So that's how ArchiCAD handles this for you. So it does the heavy lifting for you instead of doing the ID or labeling your sheets manually. So let's get rid of this. I'll come here and delete the layout. Okay, so let's go back to our title block or our master. Under project details, you can go ahead again and double click on text, and I would want this to be auto text as well. Let's find project name or project description. It will depend on what you want. So let's hit add. So now it's extracting that information we've keyed in. So we have your first floor plan in ArchiCAD with Mesolite Visual. This is the information we're keying in the project info section. Okay, so that was that in terms of the title block and the master. Same applies to the contact information on all the like. So if I say contact web, for example, I can insert auto text and then come here. This information is under your contact details. So let's find contact details here and then find contact web, which is this one, then add. So if you go to our project info by going to file, info, project info, and then come here under contact details section and find the contact web, and then I will say my new store is called www.msbeam.store. You should go and visit the store, guys. It has all the resources that you need as a beginner and as a just ArchiCAD user to optimize and improve your workflow. It has a lot of products that you can use, project samples, details, ebooks, templates, and presets. So check out this link below to check our website. So from here, if you say okay, you see now it's extracting that information automatically from there. Okay, so let's go back to our sheet, our layout. All right, so we've done with the settings of our layout. We have set our title block, and then one last thing to add here is the drawing. Right, to place a drawing, let's say already we have a sketch here to represent what we want. So you can see I've placed the what you call the scale bar here. This is a 10 meters scale bar. So if you hit on M or come at the top here, there is a ruler or a measure tool. The shortcut is M. If you click on it, then measure from here to there is 10 meters or 10,000 millimeters, because I'm using millimeters. So that's basically that. So I'd like to, in order for the scale bar to work, because this is not an object, it's just 2D lines and text, but you can also create or convert it into an object, but it does really the same results, be it an object or this. The only thing that I like is I can easily customize it if I want. So also check the link on the description. I have different types or styles of scale bar. Let me just open. These are the different. I have for 5 meters, 10 meters, and then also for 50 meters, and there are different styles. They check the link on the description to take or download this from our website and from the Patreon membership. So let's go back to our project. Okay, so I just choose one and then place it here and position in a way that it will be placed on the title block. So if you go back to the title block here under the layout book, or ArchiCAD nowadays or in recent versions have provided us with this options menu in the top of our interface here. So how does this work? So if you open one of the view here, automatically to be listed there. So if you keep on opening views, they will be here. Just a shortcut to go back to that particular view. For example, we have our master here for the title block. We have the layout here that we can easily go and work on it. So I would want to place the plan or the ground floor in this layout. So what I'll need to do is to come here under the view map. Then let's go under the floor plan section. I will just drag and drop, or while you are still here, you can right click and then find, oh, I thought you can just right click and then place this in a layout, but I think you can only do it on the view or on the view here and then say place on layout. So it will bring you to the layout and then you can just click to place that. Perfect. You see it's been placed, sorry, with that. The scale bar, other elements are missing because maybe the layer is off. So what I need to do is to go back to the layout because I was getting from the view map. So let's bring our layers and check if what is the layer that is off. So to bring your layers, you can say Control L, or as a shortcut, or you go to options, elements attribute, and then layer settings, or you can just come down below here. There is layer settings. You can click on this icon for layers and bring your layer settings here. So if you scroll down, you will find there's a layer that is missing. I think it's this one. So let's switch it on, and then we need to update for the layer combinations. ArchiCAD has this section where you have layer combinations and then layers. How does this works? You have a layer combinations that controls the visibility of these layers. Okay, so you see the list of layer combinations here. They reflect the drawings or the sections of the view map this side. So currently our ground floor view, if you go down here under the properties, you would see it's being linked with a layer combination of 02 drafting, which is this layer combinations. So it basically controls what's supposed to be active and what's supposed to be off by just updating on it. So for example, you see here we have a situation whereby some of the scale bar elements are missing. It's because the layer for that is off. And if we say I think it's this one, the zone level, it's now active, and then we need to update. You see here it's active, but here it says is not active. If I select one of this, you see this one is active, and then here is also active. We need to update this zone label to our layer to be active here. So I can just say update, net down, it's active, and then hit OK. You see you have our element back again in our drawing. So if you go back to the layout sheet by just clicking on this tab, you see now everything is fine, it's being updated. All right, so we have the title and the scale. So let's go back to our planned view. What I want is to set up to change the scale to 1:50, because if you check on the layout is on 1:100. So in order, you can do it in different ways. You can change it just by doing it manually here and say 1:50. ArchiCAD will treat this action as a temporary action. You're just changing it temporarily, but once you go back to here, double click, it will go back to 1:100. Why? Because you need to use the property and the view settings to key in the scale for this particular view. If you go here under the property of this ground floor, you see we have scale that is being set permanently for this view. In order for us to change this or access the settings or the properties of this view, we go here under settings, then we get where we can key in the layer combination that we want, that represented or that reflects our drawing, or we can also set our scale. So let's change the scale to 1:50. Another thing that is important is down below here under dimensioning. So if you are using a different version, a different standard in terms of units, you can also change or set up a unit for your office or for your practice, and then have it set there. You can now come here and load it into your drawings, but roughly we have pretty much everything set for you from out of the box. I don't think for now it's necessary for you to go and set a different, because we have millimeters, we have meters, we have inches for imperial standards. So let's hit OK to apply the changes. All right, now we see our view, our drawing or our view started to reduce the size of our elevation markers. Okay, so if you go back here, you'd see now our drawing, it becomes big. So what I need to do is to select the drawing, and then I want to trim off the unwanted stuff. So I'll click on this line or edge. Then we have a pop out palette, so that will give you the tools for specific situation. In this case, we want to stretch this to here, so I would go for offset the edge. So let's just offset this edge to there. I'll do the same to this side. I would offset it to somewhere there. Let's just bring it down here, and then this side we can just trim also this side. You see now my title is outside. Okay, let's just stretch this to there so that we can fit in our title. Now we've lost our scale bar. Let's go back and select the scale bar. Control D in your keyboard to drag. I'll pick it from here, drag it all the way to there. So if you go back to our layout, it should update automatically. If it doesn't update, you right click on it and then say update or update manual. So that's basically that. And yes, we have this title for our drawing. It's not what we want. So in order for us to set a custom title, let's select the drawing and open the settings by clicking on this tab. This tab will keep on changing. It's dynamic according to what's been selected on your ArchiCAD. So if you're selecting a wall element, for an example, it will change the icon into an icon for a wall, for an example, and it will give you the parameters specific for that tool. So in this case, this is the drawing. I would open the drawing settings, and let's find for, or go down below here under title. All right, by default you'd have list of title here, and I'll go for the linear drawing title. Okay, this is what you get. If I say okay, you'd see this is the linear what you call title. So I want to edit this and customize it into my liking. So I would start by taking this text by clicking on this hotspot, this purple hotspot, and then let's change the tool on the pet palette. Instead of a drag, to move sub element, because these are sub element. So I'm gonna click on this and then it will move. Okay, you see now it moves. What moves here is the entire drawing title. So I need to change, instead of moving the sub element, because here the sub element is the drawing title, the actual drawing title. So I need to use this one, which is stretch, because I want to stretch it from this to this point. For example, do the same to the scale. Let's just move it maybe along, yes, just to align it with the ground text. And then one thing that I need to do is to change or set up a different or a custom shape for this. So I'll go back again to the settings dialog, and then go down here under drawing title section. Then we have the position. I don't think the position we have it on the bottom. You can position on the left or right or at the top, but it doesn't make sense. I'll leave it at the bottom. And then we have dimensions. The dimensions, which is the distance between the title and the drawing. So we have 10 millimeters. I don't think here I would change a thing. What I need to do is to change this to the, and then I want to centralize it. Okay, so if you activate the linked width to position off, it will give you options to align it or justify the alignment. Okay, so now it gives me an option again to change the length of our title block, because you could see it as it is now, it takes the entire length of the drawing. So I don't want that, so I would come here and say 150. Okay, so that if I hit OK, you see the changes. Now I have it on the center and it's more. Wow, what happened? Oh, we have our text left behind here. Let's just do manual positioning again by clicking on the hotspot and take the scale also to there. Perfect. Let's go back again to the settings dialog for this, and we're still under the drawing title. I want to go for the next page of parameters by clicking on this arrow. Let's find the show marker. It's active, and I'll change this to a circle. We have limited geometries here to choose from, but I'll go with circle. And I can also access the fields and colors of this by clicking on this icon. So I can set this to be color 1. Color 1 in the color table is around 0.13 millimeters thick. So I think it's the appropriate pen set for weight for the drawing title. And then hit OK. You can also go back by the arrow, and you'd find we have the chance to increase our text. So I'm going to overwrite the text. I'll start with the ground floor, so which is going to be the drawing name, right? And then let's overwrite. I want the text to be maybe 5 millimeters. Okay, the text will remain under 0.13 millimeters, which is color 1 in your color table. And then the font type will be just Arial. I'm not going to bold it. You can bold it or whatever settings you'd want. So let's change this to drawing scale again. Override, make the pen uniform, then set this to 5. We have an options to make the drawing title uniform pen, which is basically on this section, right? If you say uniform title pen, and then you can come here and change, it will change for everything, for the text, for the geometry, the lines of your title. Okay, so once you're done, let's hit OK to apply the changes. Now we have something like this. I think you would need again to readjust the text position. Let's click on the hotspot and then maybe stretch it to this position. I'll align the text to, the scale text to the name. Perfect. Okay, so you have in this case we have an ID. Is it an ID? Yes, the drawing ID, the drawing number, and then this, I'm not sure what it is, so we can also customize this. So let's go back again to the settings. Once we've selected it, I would go back. Let's find show drawing scale, it's active, show ID text, show drawing name. So I think okay, this is the one. Show double lines. On the one here for the ID, I think it's from here. If you say top center drawing ID, yes, you can choose to show the drawing ID. And no, we are supposed to set the marker, right? If you say single row, no, it should be double row. Let's move on and say show ID, and then hit OK. The ID went off. Let's go back and show text ID. We just want drawing ID. Let's move it on the center, then hit OK. Perfect. So that's what we wanted. Now we have to readjust. I don't know why it keeps on moving back to the original. Maybe let's find not a perfect way of aligning this instead of doing it manually. I'll go back to the settings and let's say test justification, but I haven't seen something like that. Alignment, this is for the entire title. Let's find the parameter where we can change this or align to the left. Center, I haven't seen it, that's why I'm trying to troubleshoot with you. If we say okay, that option is not available, so let's hit OK, and then we'll have to do it manual. I'll pick the hotspot and drag it back to the desired position and do the same to the scale. Make sure it's aligned with the name text. Perfect. That's the desired result for our title. So I would like to align it with the scale bar. So maybe take this. I'm going to take the entire title sub elements and click in one of these. Let's change the tool from the pop-out palette and choose move sub elements. I'm going to position it right on the corner here. Okay, something like that. Maybe you want to align it with this. To align it, I would hold shift to restrict the movement vertically or horizontal. If you are coming from AutoCAD, you know this what we call ortho mode. So I'll just hold shift and then align it to that. Okay, so one thing that I need to place here is the project north. So I would just go to the design tool palette. Let's open the design tool palette. So because we are in the layout sheet, the only active tool here is the object. Other tools are going to be active once you are on the appropriate or relevant view. In this case, you cannot draw or place a wall on the layout. It makes sense, right? So let's activate the object tool and then go here under the settings and open that settings. So by default, ArchiCAD has the libraries or object libraries that comes with the out-of-box template. So if you come here, I want to search for the project north. I'll go for this one, and then it has the parameters here down below under the symbol styles. You can change the style you want. For whatever reason, I'll just go with this one. No, let's change to that one. Okay, and then you can create or make this to follow the project north, because ArchiCAD has a feature or parameters where you can set the geographical location for your project. depending on that. So we can say follow project north, and then we can say hit OK if you place it to follow project north. Just position it right to align it with the text like this. So if you go to the project north settings, it's going to go you have to go to options at the top menu bars, and then let's find project preferences again, and then if you go down below here, you'll find the location settings. So location settings of our project, so you can set the latitude, longitude, whatever the time zone of your project, as you can see, or you can choose a predefined city like that. And then in this case I'll choose my region. Let's go. If there is Harare or Bulawayo, maybe Johannesburg is, hit OK. And then the north angle is 90 or something. What I'm trying to demonstrate here is if the changes here, okay, maybe say this is going to be 70 for example. If you hit OK, it will adjust the project north because it follows the project north, which is fantastic. Okay, perfect. We have everything set for our great floor plan drawings. So I think in the next chapter we'll be looking at that, creating the actual floor plan drawing. Alright, let's now create the actual floor plan drawing. So I'm gonna go back to the ground floor view by clicking on this tab, and then with this sketch, like I said, if you want to follow along, you can check the link on the description to download this sketch in order for you to follow my steps. So the first thing that I need to do is to activate the wall tool under the design tool palette. So if you come here, like I said, it's also the same. You can increase the size of this window if you really want to see more space. So if you're a beginner, you want also to see the naming of these tools, you can increase this window so that you can give you the names or the description of these tools, as you can see. So I think if you are starting, this is the best way of doing it. Right, so let's activate the wall tool there, and then like I said, on the info box section, it will always give you the parameters of the active tool. In this case, we have a wall tool that is active. All this information, it's about our wall, so we have everything to define our wall tool. But if you click on the settings dialog, it gives the expanded version of these parameters in a bigger window. So we have an option to key in the height, the thickness, and the material for our wall. So in this case, I'm gonna go with the structure to a basic, and then choose the material. I'll go for let's find something to represent. You can create your custom materials if you want, but in this case I'll go with this generic structural material as a start. So the thickness of the wall will be 300 millimeters. It will remain as it is, and you have an option to change the complexity of your wall. You want to slant it, you want to make it trapezoid. Same applies on the section profile of your wall. So down below here is the override, is to override surfaces, but this is just for 3D purposes. In this case, we're just focusing only on the floor plan drawing. So we'll come here under floor plan section. Let's stretch this window again by stretching from the edge like that. You have the projection settings, you have the cut surface attributes, which is for the line type, the pen weight for the line, and other uncut attributes. So I'll just hit OK for this because this is pretty much basic on what I want to do. Let's hit OK, and then once you've hit OK, we have the geometry method. The geometry method gives us or defines the placement of any element. It's either a geometry or construction method. So in this case, we have different geometry method on how we can place our wall. So if you click, the first one is the geometry method for if you want to draw a straight wall, or you can, if you click this arrow, you'd see you can just draw a straight wall that is being defined by 2 points from point A to point B. And then we have the chained method, more like a polyline, where you can continuously draw a wall in different or in many points. And then we have the box or rectangular method, where we can draw our wall or place our wall with a rectangle tool. And then we have a slanted rectangle. I hope this makes sense. You can rotate your rectangle to any degree. So I would go for the chained method in this case, and then I would start from here. But also what is important, because we're using a 3D, we're placing a 3D element here that has the thickness, so it will have a reference line, and the location of the reference is also important in our placing of our wall. In this case, if we're to draw our wall continuously from the right to the left or clockwise, we'll have to choose an appropriate location for our reference line. So in this case, I would leave it as outside face. We have the center, we can position it from the inside face. But don't worry, you can just start by placing, and then while we're still in the process, you can come and change the location. So I'll start from this corner and then go all the way. You see, now I want to place my walls in the internal part of this drawing, so I'm going to change this to be in the inside face, and then I can come and draw the walls like that. Draw stuff like this from here, come this way, and then on this point I'll go this direction to this corner, just like that, up until I complete my drawing. And then I'll move on to the internal walls. Like this one, I would start from here, and then this way we move up to there. So for this one, I think we need to, this wall, we have to flip it or change the location. You can come here and then change, or use this turn or flip wall reference. So I'm gonna bring it to the side. Perfect, because I want to maintain this width for the spaces that are in this area. Okay, so I have another wall here. I would pick parameters, but if you want to repeat the previous command with the predefined settings, you have to click W in your keyboard to activate that. So to pick the previous settings of the tool that is was placed. So I'm gonna start from this point, and then it will end somewhere here. I'll right click to complete and hit OK. Another wall is going to be from this area going all the way to there. Right click and then OK. We have another wall here, because now I'm drawing walls that had been defined by 2 points. I need to change this to this method, so that I can just quickly draw it from here and then place it there. I'm not sure, should I keep? Yes, I think it's the perfect location. So I'll do the same to the other walls. Like we have another wall here, I'll W to repeat the previous command, and then draw it to there. We have another wall here to there, and then we have other walls here. The other one will be there. Yes, I think it's pretty much that. So for areas where I want to clean up, for example, this wall and this wall has to meet here. I will fillet by using a command called intersect. But in order for you to select multiple elements, or you want to have multiple selections, I would pick this one first and then hold shift in your keyboard to add another selection like that. Then I can go to the top menu and of our interface and then intersect, so that I can join this wall, these two walls there. Okay, one thing that I need to do is, because this wall here is not a full height, it's a dwarf wall, so I need to change its height so that it can be perfectly reflected. I think it's from somewhere here, even this one to somewhere there. So let's start with this one and then scroll down in your info box. If you scroll down, you would find this linked story section. So let's click on the linked story, the top one, and then say not linked, so that we can define the height of the wall manually. In this case, I'm going to have it at 1.5. no, it's supposed to be a meter, sorry, which is 1000 millimeters. Perfect. So that will happen as well on this wall. We have to split this wall, or I can just shift hold and add this wall as a selection, then fillet. Okay, then I will pick parameters of this wall and then draw another wall here to close it off there. So to pick parameter of this wall, I can go here and then say pick up parameter. The shortcut is Alt plus C. Let's pick up parameters here and then pick the wall. Let's draw this wall there. The location of the reference line is wrongly positioned. I'll just flip it like that, then place there. Perfect. So we have the same situation here. We have to align this wall. Let's pick this wall and then pick the point of the wall like that. On the pet palette, it will give you the stretch command or stretch tool. So hold shift to restrict it horizontally or orthogonally, then reference with this line like that. And then I'm going to pick parameters of this wall again, then draw the wall there. Perfect. We have this little kind of a thing. We have the same situation for this wall as well. Let's take this wall. I think it has to be chamfered with this or filleted with this one. So let's hold shift and add selection for these two walls, then come at the top there and intersect. So I'll pick parameter of this wall, then place there. It's wrongly positioned. Let's flip it by clicking on this icon, then perfect. So that's basically how you maneuver and play around with your wall settings. Okay, so I think this wall has to go. I need to trim off this wall. It has to end somewhere here. So to trim the wall, you can go here and activate the trim tool, or click and hold the control button to activate the scissor tool in order for you to trim like this. So this will be the entry of the building. We're gonna have some series of steps here to access here, because it will be an elevated elevated floor. Okay, so let's move on to the other walls. I think we have pretty much placed all the walls according to our design. Okay, let's move ahead and detail our floor plan. I would start by defining the entrance to this building. So I would activate the tool under the design tool palette, and then what I need to do, because the height of the floor is going to be a meter, so I think even our wall has to reflect that. I think I made a mistake. I could have set all the walls to start at 1 meter height. So I would select all these walls, and if you want to select all the walls, you can activate the wall tool in your toolbox and then Control A to select all the walls. But in terms of these ones, let's deselect these ones because they are dwarf walls. By hold shift, then click on them to deselect like that. So I'm gonna start all the walls at on the info box here, let's find the bottom and top, and then set the offset height, the bottom offset height to home story to be 1 meter or 1000 millimeters. Okay, so from here, and then you would have that sort of a thing. So if you go back to the stair tool and activate it, so in this case, because we have a platform of 1 meter, so our stair has to reflect that. So I would set it to be 0 in terms of the base offset from the home story, and then the height is going to be 1 meter. So currently is by default is being linked with the upper story. So let's click here and then set this to be not linked, right? And then so that we can key in the height of our staircase, which is going to be 1 meter. Perfect. So once you are done, you can choose either to place the railings automatically or just leave it and then do the railing later. In this case, I don't want to place the railings because this is just steps, not the entire staircase. So I'm not going to activate the railing feature. So I'll come and then draw my, so you see now I've have a guideline here. If I hover here, I'll have a guideline, and then I'll move it there to guide the placement of my staircase. So then let's click here and then draw the staircase. You see, even if I stretch all the way or beyond the distance, it will restrict it to only 6 streets because the height of the staircase is 1 meter. So I'll click anywhere here, then escape or come here on the move tool to cancel the operation. Then let's select the staircase, and then I would control D to move, control D in your keyboard to move it to somewhere there, okay, to the space. But obviously the width of the staircase has to be the width of this entry lobby. So if I click on M to activate the measure tool, or go here on the top of our interface and then click on measure, we can measure this distance is around 1.9. So the width of our staircase will be that. So if you come here at the top of our info box, let's find the width of the staircase and put 1.9 as the width of our staircase. Perfect. So we have another staircase and for our building, which is here, that we need to place. So let's activate again the staircase. This one is going to be very interesting because it's different from what we've done for that one. So this one will link it to the current story, to the story that is above, because that's what you want to save. So then let's say, instead of saying negative, it's going to be 2 meters, right? It's going to be 2 meters, and then the height of that. Perfect. So if I now come here, I can show or place the railings on both sides, right? And then I'll start my staircase from here. It's going to be a dog-legged staircase. I'll draw it like that, then come somewhere here. I'll count the number of stairs for the first flight. For the first flight, I would by standards at least 10 steps will be sufficient, or it's comfortable enough for someone to use this staircase. So let's just end by the 10th step and then click. From here we need to change from the pet palette, change to the landing, because we're placing the landing, right? And then so that we can place the landing this way. No, because we are using justification from the left, it's going to be tricky. You see now, if we turn here, it reduces the number of steps for the first flight. So what I'll do, I'll just go back to the flight, and then let's cancel and start it over again. So I'm gonna start it somewhere here, right? Click, then draw all the way to this corner, because that's where the corner of the landing will start. Click there, then out, change the tool to landing, because then move to this direction. You see now it's it reduces the number of staircase to the 10th number that we want. And then I'll draw it all the way to this corner. Then now I would swap or change back to the flight mode so that I can draw it going back like that, going back, and then it has to be an equal there. Right click and then hit OK. I've placed our staircase like that. So we can select the staircase and open the settings, right, and define some parameters there. Under stair, you see we have this section sorry about that. We have this section where we can change the stair width, where we can determine how many numbers do we want to have of the risers. So in this case, I'll reduce to, okay, it's roughly 25, which is fine, and we can set the height of our riser to be let's go for 185. All right, I think 27 number of risers is too many, and it's caused by having an extra 2 meters on top of 3 meters for what we have. So if you see here, the total height of our staircase is 5 meters. So let's change this to 0 so that it will restrict it only to 3 meters, right? And then you see now the number of risers is changed to 20, and then we have option again to set it to, I don't want, let me just give it 18, and then the width of the riser will remain at 167 millimeters. Okay, I think that's pretty much decent for a good staircase. So I'll hit OK. You have also other parameters where you can lock the width of the going and change the riser to be slanted. So in this demonstration, let's just keep it simple and basic. I'll hit OK to apply the changes. Okay, so if you want, again, you can also change the size of this flight because it looks huge. You can move it back by clicking on this point and then activate the move node. See, now I can move it back to somewhere there. Perfect, because I want to have this passage nice and clean without some interference from this staircase. So we have pretty much good working staircase. So let's move on to defining more space, and put more details to our spaces. We move forward by putting more details to this drawing, and I'm gonna start with placement of openings. To be specific, doors. Let's activate the door tool, and then on the info box we can open the settings dialog so that we can access the library, the default library that comes with ArchiCAD. So let's find the rotating door. We want the pivot door, so I'll select this, and one thing that I need to change here is the detailed level, 2D detailed level. So I'll set it to be 1:50 so that it can give this what you call the reveal. Okay, so from here I would hit OK, then scroll down or zoom in here. I'll place this from the inside. So the thick, or this thick line, it has to be on the inside, right? And then I'll click there. We're gonna open it from, you can choose the direction of the opening, whatever. In this case, I'm gonna go on the left or at the top like that, and we move on to the other. And for the others, it's different because we have a sliding door here by the lounge, and then we have another sliding door here for this passage or outdoor seating. Okay, so let's go and place them. Open the settings while the door is active and find the sliding doors and scroll down and find I'll go with let's go with this one, door with slide door on site 225. In this case, I'm going to change the opening type to be more like a staking. So this will be staking to the side. This one is, as you see the preview here, you can also check the preview from the front or in 3D. So that's basically what you want. So in the 2D detail level, we need to be at the 2D or the plan 2D detail level. Let's set it to a scale of 1:50, and then once we're done, hit OK. Then I'm going to place it from the inside, right? Click at that, and then the opening is going to be from the outside, right? It's going to be a full glazing. So I'm going to cancel the command by clicking on the arrow or escape in your keyboard. So I'll select this, and I can stretch if I want by clicking on the points and then stretch to them, and then do the same to the side, stretch it all the way to there. So it has to take the full width of this patio or porch. See, now we have a long side light, which is, I don't think it's the ideal. So we can pick this hotspot here to reduce the side light. You see, it said side light width. We can define it by whatever width we want. So I will keep it at 1 meter so that it can something like that. Okay, so in 2D as well, I can decide to open in 2D. So if I click on this point, the midpoint, the mid hotspot, and stretch it the way you want, so it to open it 2D like that. So I'll open it a bit so it gives a little bit of depth to your drawing. So I'll do the same to the side. I can pick parameters of this wall by Alt. Like I said, the shortcut for picking parameter, it's Alt, and then click on the element. Then I'll place it from the inside here, then open it from the outside, then click. So this one, they are on the same size, yes, but let's escape or cancel by the arrow tool. I'll pick this one and Control D to drag it right to the edge of this wall, like so. Perfect. So we have placed these two big sliding doors. Now we need to do the internal doors. So I'm gonna activate again the door tool, open the settings. Now we're going to change the type of a door to hinge doors, which is going to be door 25. I'm gonna also set the 2D detail level to be at 1:50 scale so that we can see the reveal detail, right? Because I'm not focusing on 3D in this demonstration, I won't set any 3D detail level or any 3D settings of any element that I'm going to place for this. So I'll hit OK. Then I'll start with this. We have an internal door here for the bedroom, access to this bedroom. We have another one through the access to the laundry from the kitchen, and then we have the other one that opens outside to the backyard. Okay, so we have again a special doors for this area, and then for also this area. So I'm going to go back to open the settings of our door. Instead of using door 25, let's find door with side light on the side. So in order for us to pick parameters of the doors that we've set already, we can do this. We can pick parameters of this door, right? And then if you go back to the settings, and if you want to change, like I'm saying, if I change this door, if I change from this door to this one, you see now it loses the settings that we've set, the 2D detail level. So you can imagine when you are setting most of the parameters of your door, and then you keep on coming back and redoing it, it's going to take a lot of time for you. So to save settings is to pick parameters like I did of the already set door. Like from here, you open the settings, and then instead of just changing to this one manually like that, what you do is you Control Alt to inject parameters of that previous door settings to the new one. So in this case, I'll click on this one, something like this, right? You see now we still have this door with a side light, but the difference here is it changes the 2D detail level that we've been setting for all of our doors to 1:50. But if you can imagine, if we've set the pen sets, the 3D materials and all the likes, that will automatically be updated. So I would hit OK, and then I'll place the door here. Let's set this. I'm gonna stretch this to there. It has to take this, what you call the length of our this. I think something is wrong here. Let's make our side line 1.1, something like that. So the total width of the door should be 2 meters. Okay, something like this. All right, I think I need to flip this door. Let's Control M because I want to flip it. I'll say Control M to mirror, or I just can pick one of the midpoints, then activate the mirror in our pet palette, then do that way. Perfect, because I have this side, I'll be having the basin and the water closet, so I need to create enough space for such. Okay, so perfect. So let's move on to the next door of the similar model, which is going to be, I'll pick parameters of this. The door is gonna be here, but for this one it's going to be different in terms of the, if you look at this one, the opening is on the sideline side. This one is the other way, so it's the opposite way. So I'll go back on the settings and find this door, because this is a reverse of the one we've been doing. So I would Control Alt to inject parameters on this one, then hit OK. Let's place it from the inside to there. So I'm going to set this to be 1.5. No, it's supposed to be 1.6. All right, I don't know why it has to take all the width. So if I pick the parameters here and then stretch it there, so it's going to be 1.650. Yes, perfect. So this is going to be the outside or the visitor's toilet. Okay, so I have pretty much all the doors placed. So let's move on to the windows. So I'll activate the window tool and then open the settings. Let's open the settings for our window. The first window that we will start with is by the prayer room, which is this area. So I'll pick only this one. So here, like I said, just focused on creating a great floor plan drawing. So I'm gonna only be specific to parameters that are very good in producing floor plan drawing. So I'm gonna set this to be 1:50, again also to add more depth and reveal to your plan of your windows, and then hit OK. So from here I'll place it from the inside and then opens to the outside. So the window has to take the full length of this wall. So I'll pick parameter of this point and then stretch it all the way to the other ends like that. Okay, so I'm gonna have a couch here that will be against this window, and a table here for praying. So let's move on to our windows, especially on this side. We have a big window also here. I can pick parameters or hit W to repeat the previous command. I'll open the settings. For this one, I will find something like multi sesh. Click on this one. I forgot to inject the parameters from the previous window, but because it's just one setting, which is the 2D detail level. So I'll just hit this and then OK, take it from the inside and then click outside. So this has to be 4 meters width, and I'm going to Control D and move it to the edge here. I can Control D again and move it out by maybe 500 so that it can be accurately be positioned. So once you enter here, you see a big window here to be then outdoor and garden space. So you see that will be a good effect to your space. Okay, and then from here we need to move on to the other side. I think we're gonna have a mirror of this window on the side of the kitchen. You want to be having a good view while you are on this area or in the spaces. So I'm going to pick parameters of this by Alt hold in your keyboard, then place it from the inside and then click outside. So this is going to be right on the edge. So I'm going to Control D, then drag it from here right on this edge. Okay, so this one is going to be a little bit wider than the other one, so I'm gonna make it 5 meters. Control D, position it accordingly like so. Perfect. And move on to the other one. We have another window here for the kitchen, the other one for the scullery there, and then for the toilet, the other one for the bedroom, and for the staircase. That will complete our window placement. So I'll go back by W to activate the previous command and then open the settings for this. For the kitchen, I'm going to go for this one and set the 2 detail level to 1:50. Hit OK, place it from the inside, click outside to complete placement, select the window, set it to be 2.5. Yes, 2.5, and then I'll make sure I'll position it centrally to the kitchen, stuff like that. And then for this, hit W and then open settings. Let's change for the scullery. For the scullery, we can go for a smaller window, still with the same type. I think still the same type, is only that this one is going to be much smaller. Click from the inside, then outside. Perfect. 1.5 I think is the appropriate amount of fenestration to this space. So we have the bathroom for, or the in-suite for this bedroom. So this one I can change maybe the type of window to be, instead of sliding, okay, let's go for sliding as well. I can go for this, change this to 1:50, stuff like this, and then hit OK, place it centrally outside. I think I can increase the size of it to be maybe 2 meters under the size parameters. Okay, we have another window here. This will be a tall window for the bedroom. So if I double in your keyboard to previous commands, and let's go back to the basic windows and then find something like, I'll go with this. Okay, change the 2 detail level to 1:50 and hit OK, place it from the inside to the outside. This I'm going to make it 2 meters wide, and then I'll Control D in your keyboard to align it with this corner right on the edge like that. So from here we have another one for cross ventilation effect. W in your keyboard, then place it inside and outside. Click Control D to drag it to the corner right there. This I'm going to change it to be 1 meter. Okay, Control D and position it right there. Perfect. So we have this, and then we are left with one, which is for, I can repeat, maybe take this and then Control Shift D to carry a copy, or you can move this by picking one of the points here and then use drag. If you drag while you are still in the operational mode for dragging, you can hit Control to add a copy so that you can place it right by the corner here, just to have a window here by the the void of the launch. Okay, so we have another one there. I can repeat by W and then open the settings. From here I'm gonna change this to be, where is that one? Still, I can still use the same type of window. Maybe I'll just to copy this one, Control Shift D, or move and then Control to add a copy, then place it on the center of this area, then change the size to be 1.5. Perfect. Make sure it's centrally positioned to the space like that. Okay, so basically we have all the openings placed except the one for this toilet. So I'll pick parameters of this toilet. I'll make sure they are on the same size, and then from the inside and then the outside, just like that. Okay, that pretty much completes our placement of openings, doors and windows. So we'll move on to the other section. We'll move on later and see how sorry about that, and see how we can add more details to our windows. That basically we're placing some labels, and you'll see how to set up the IDs for the windows in a manner that will systematically reflects that, and how to set a perfect label for your doors and windows. Okay, so let's move ahead and create and provide the meaning or the function to the spaces now by placing the furniture or objects. So I'm gonna activate the object tool. From the object tool, I'll start with the prayer room. Let's find, I'll open the settings and find, instead of for search this time around, I'm not gonna search. I'm going to do it by folder view and subtype views. So if you click on this icon and then click on the first one, it will revert back to this. So I can stretch to increase my window so that I can see it clearly like that. So if you scroll down this bar up, you would find I'm looking for is it chairs or sofas? Couches. Let's find for the couches and sofas, right? It's just right there. I'm looking for something like this. Okay, then I can hit OK, place it there. For object placement, I don't think there's really enough much in terms of technically behind of it. So just to place, and then from here out is to rotate. So if the shortcut for rotate is Control E in your keyboard, or you can just pick one of the points there and then activate the rotate command. So I'm gonna rotate it like that, then click Control D to move it right on the edge of the window, and then I'm going to stretch the width of this sofa or couch all the way to take the full width of our window, sorry, like that. Okay, so we would have a table here for books, I mean previous command, and then let's find for a table which is going to be, I'll go for this desk, right? Hit OK, I'll place it there. So select it, Control D to move it right on the corner there. It makes sense, right? All right, so we'll move on to the other space. I'll start by this toilet. Let's go back to the object settings again and find I'm gonna search for WC. Oh, sorry about that. Let's say WC. I would find this one for version 25, and then I can come here and maybe play around with some styles that by default ArchiCAD will give you that, but you would want to set yourself apart from just using default settings from or that are being presented by the software. So going extra mile and change the settings of this to make your drawing unique, because I can tell drawings that specifically done by ArchiCAD. This one, they're just using some basic settings from the software. So in this case, if you go extra mile and tweak a few things and make custom changes to enhance your drawing, so I'll click and then place it here, then Control E to rotate. Like I said, it's a shortcut for rotating. Control D to drag it. So I'm going to use the black point or the hotspot to dock it to against the wall, because this extension is for the MAP connection. So this is another topic that can be done separately on how to use MAP tools. So I can Control Shift D and then move a copy to the side and then open the settings just to kill time. This time around I'm gonna search for a basin, so let's go for this one, and then I can also again go a little bit extra mile and find something unique and different, and then go with this one. So let's just create a little bit of space between this. Okay, I would like to have the basin be the first to see instead of having the closet. I'll Control M to mirror. Oh, sorry about that. Let's pick one of the end and then mirror. I'm gonna mirror it horizontally like this, just to maintain that. Okay, I think this wall has to be positioned and inside the reference location, because you could see even the space, if you measure, it's 1.1. It's less than a standard of being a passage. So I'm gonna turn the reference line to the inside like this. Perfect. And then I can adjust the width of this, maybe make it 1.4, and Control D and move it to right to the point. Yes, I think this way it makes sense. So let's see, I can M to measure the distance. The width of the store is 900, which is perfect. Okay, if we move on to the other space, which is this space here, we have the outdoor patio where we can come from the lounge and then sit and chill outside. So I'll again go back to the object tool and then open the settings. This time around I'm going to look at a different library. So let's say different folder. I'm going to scroll down up, we'll find for I will start with the chair. Let's find an appropriate chair for that. What am I looking for? I can go for this one, right? No. Let's see. I'm looking for something different. Okay, I can go with this one because it looks more cozy and outside. And then click on this, place it here. I'll Control E, rotate, maybe slant it a bit like that, move it somewhere here. Then I'll Control Shift D and place it alongside it or against it. Open this, find the table folder and find for a round table. I'll go for this one, this coffee table. Hit OK, place it here, something like that. Right, select this object again, Control Shift D to carry a copy, and then I'm gonna change. I've seen something to use, I think this one, right? Hit OK. Let's Control E and rotate to to this direction. Perfect. So that's the arrangement that I want to keep for the patio. Let's move on to the inside, the living room. We'll have a big chair here, a sofa, and then we have a massive one alongside the void. So let's do that. W to activate the previous commands. Open the settings, go to couches and sofas. Let's find something to use. I think I'll go with this L shape. Okay, let's go for this L shape, and yeah, pretty much what I want, and then hit OK, then place it here. I'm going to select it and then Control M to mirror it. Oh, sorry, I don't know why. Let's just pick the point and then mirror it manually like that. Control D. I'm going to move it right somewhere here on the corner, and then I can stretch it all the way to have a huge sofa like that. Let's just make it this way, but you can see this is practically wrong. So what I need to do is go back and maybe increase the number of division. Do we have a number? Let's find. Yes, we have a number of seats. I can make 4 or maybe 5. Yes, because when it's 5, so let's see. Yes, perfect. Then I can hit OK. I can have sitting, but it still looks huge. You can M and keyboard and try to measure 900. I think we can have an extra seat there. Let's make it 6, something like that. Perfect. I think I can also control the size of this, but for me, let's just leave it the way it is. All right, we have another sofa here, and then the coffee table, and another single chair there. So for single chair, I can just pick, let me just select these 2 by shift hold and add another selection, and then shift D to place it there. And this I'm going to rotate, Control E to rotate, and rotate it on this direction. I'll just move it somewhere here for temporarily, and then I'll Control D and move the table somewhere there. I want a big rectangle table there. I'll go back to the settings and find something like that. I'll go for this coffee table 0.5. Hit OK. Let's set the angle to be 0 so that it can be horizontal like this. The width, I can make it 1.5. Yes, then Control D, move it. I think it's perfectly positioned. What I can do is to increase the width of this a bit, maybe make it 750 depth. Right, perfect. So let's place the last seating for this, but this needs to be closer, man. This gentleman is far. Okay, right. So I can take this, Control Shift D again, and then place it there. Open its settings under the sofa, couches and sofas. Let's find something different. I will go for, wow, let's go for this. Increase the number to be 3. Right, let's set the angle to be 0 so that it can be, or maybe 90 because it's going to be vertically aligned. And then enter, place it somewhere there. I can increase the size a little bit, maybe make the width 2 meters, and then the depth, let's make it 800. Stuff like that. Perfect. It looks amazing. And let's move on to the other side, especially the spill out, which is the outdoor setup here, I can pick these two, Control Shift D to carry a copy and place it here. This I'll rotate it to this direction like that. Then let's move this by Control D, move it to this side. Yes, I can make it somewhere here. If I'm not interested, I think I can change also the type of chair for this area. I'll find let's go for a sofa. Under the sofa, let's find a single chair that we can, wow, it's very difficult. Let's see this one. Yeah, not bad. I can go for this, Control D and move it somewhere there. Okay, and then this I'm going to turn it into a rectangle table or a square table. Make sure the angle is 0 so that it can be like this. Maybe the width we can set it to be a meter. Yes, and then drag it here. I'm going to carry this, Control D, and rotate it. Let's find the rotation on the info box. Rotate to 0 or 90. Perfect. Control D to just put it somewhere there. And then I can Control Shift M to mirror a copy to the other side like that. Perfect. So I still believe I can increase the size of this to be 1.2. Enter, and then this gentleman I can move it back. Control D by maybe 100. Same applies to this side by 100, so that I can have a clean arrangement of my furniture, just like that. Okay, but I feel this can also be changed, looking at the fact that it's it doesn't give me the simplicity that I'm looking at. So I think let me go for a different chair. Let's select these two and then open the settings. We can go for the armchair. I think this one looks amazing. Hit OK. Perfect. Perfect. It's amazing. Okay, so let's move on to the other space. By the launch, oh, I forgot to put a stand here, and then we have a TV. This wall, I don't think it has to go all the way to there. I can just stretch it by 1.5. Oh, sorry about that. Maybe 1.5. Yes. Then I'll pick parameters of this table, open the settings. From the settings, I would look for a stand. Should you have a stand here? TV stand. Should be under let's find cabinets and shelves. Yes, we have a stand, which is this. Then hit OK. Perfect. Let's rotate it by 90. Mirror it, because the black side of, if you see you have this black hotspot, it indicates the back side of your furniture. For all the furniture, once you see the hotspot that is aligned with it, it represents the back side of the elements. Similar for furniture like this, a table doesn't have the back side, but for a chair, strangely this is positioned on the front side. Okay, but for a lot of objects, that is the arrangement. The back side is where the hotspot, the black hotspot, is located. So this one I will Control M to mirror it. Let's just mirror it using that. I don't know why my Control M is not working. Maybe it's the settings of this keyboard. So I'll Control D and move it right somewhere here. Then I can pick Control Shift D to pick parameters right on top of that one. Again, open the settings. I'm going to search for a TV this time around. Go for TV, go for a flat panel TV. I would change the support to be wall mount, and let's change from the next page. We change the screen ratio to custom so that we can stretch it on the plane and increase the size. So I can Control D, move it somewhere here. Now I can just stretch it like that because I have custom ratio, something like this. Perfect. Normally you want to elevate it, so the height of this is 400, so the TV is supposed to be, the offset height is going to be maybe 600, something like that. Okay, so if you move on to the other space, the bedroom. Okay, so we're gonna start by the activating the object tool. Open the settings and open the settings. Let's go back to the folders, and I'll find a folder for furniture layouts because I want to go for a bed layout. Okay, so hit OK and then place it like that, select it, and then let's mirror it like that. Control D, place it somewhere there. Don't place it right on the edge of the wall for easy and great readability. You don't want to stack your objects onto the other one because it will create that clutter of the information. They start to compete the line weights, so it's always advisable to just leave a little bit of a space between the elements. Okay, and then I can open the settings. Let's move on to the next page. I want the page for the 2D representation, or which you can just click on this arrow and then go for 2D representation. So what I want is to change the 2D detail level to symbolic so that I can have the symbol type to this one, right? Hit OK, place it like that. We have a side table here, and then we would have another single bed for maybe infant or just the young ones, and then this side is gonna be the closet. All right, let's do that. I'll pick just maybe pick parameters of this, open the settings, and I can still use this stand for here, right? Let's mirror it vertically. Control D and place it right there. Then pick another parameters for this. Open the settings. Let's find for the beds. I'm going to go for, okay, let's just pick this one, bed 5. If you open the pages, sorry, under 2D detail level, let's go for symbolic and set this to this style. Hit OK, place it like that. I'm going to rotate it, or you can just use the angle to be 0 and then mirror it horizontal like this. Control D, put it right on the edge here. You need to create a bit of a space between this by moving this to somewhere here like that. So we have a table there, a reading table or study table. Let's go back to the objects and open its settings and scroll down to tables, right? Find desk, right? And then hit OK, place it here. I would set the angle to be 0. Control D and move it right on this corner. Okay, I think let's make the width 1.5. Control D, move it back again there, and we have a chair. I can pick parameters or activate the previous commands. Let's find for a chair. Chairs. What type of a chair do I? Something of I'm looking for something. You can pick any chair you want for this. Let's not be too specific. Okay, let's go for this one. Change this to be symbolic. Maybe there's some interesting stuff here. I see I can go with this one. Okay, place it there. Mirror, pick this to mirror it so that it can face there. Control D and move it right there, like that. Okay, so move on to the closet. W to repeat the previous command, and the closet is going to be under the cabinets and shelves. So go for this one. No, I think, yeah, this one. So the shape is going to be a rectangle. What I want here is under the 2D representation, so that I can just say show the hanger. You can change to symbolic, and then maybe you can play around with some nice settings there, but for this I'll just keep it as simple as possible. So I'll hit OK and then place it. Let's set the angle to be 90, and then this is the back side, so I need to mirror it vertical like that, and then Control D and move it right on the wall. I'm going to change the width, the length to be 1.5. No, it's supposed to be all the way. Maybe I can stretch from this point. Okay, activate the move, so that can be 2.2, something like this. Okay, so if we move on to the in-suite for this bedroom, so this I can just copy this 2, Control Shift D and bring it there. Let's mirror it. Pick one of the points, mirror it vertical like that. Control D, move it back and dock it against the wall. But it's going to be different. The baseline is going to change because we want something like something that has a vanity. Okay, I'll go for this one. There are not much of settings or parameters to change here other than just that. So I can maybe introduce on the plan the opening type, then hit OK, stuff like this. Maybe increase the size to be 1.2, the length of it. Drag it back here. Okay, let's move it here to create enough space for the shower. We have a shower at the corner there, so let's W to repeat the previous settings, and let's search for shower tray. Let's search for shower. I'm going to go for this one. I'm not going to set anything much for this because okay, I can try on the plan view. We don't have an option to override the symbol for this, so I'll just leave it the way it is, then hit OK. But I think let's go back a bit. Let's use it, let's say full detail. Hit OK, then I'll place it there. So I'm gonna select it, Control D, and move it right on the corner there. I can stretch it all the way, to there. Something like this. think this window might reduce to 1.8, something like that, but I don't like it when this representation, because see this line, it's all the way to there. It doesn't look all right. So what I need to do is to eliminate those lines. I don't know, maybe by, let me pick parameters of this, alt and click, alt hold and click on this object, open its settings. I'm going to replace it with a shower tray. Let's just place just a tray. Still it has that. Okay, this one I can change the symbol to that, something like this. Yes, hit OK, and Control D, move it back to the position. I think this way it looks fantastic. All right, we can create a little bit of space between these two, stuff like that. But for the counter, you'd want to create a platform for a surface on the wall for the mirrors and the like. So I'm going to reduce this window right to the size of, right to the distance that is being left with these two, the shower and the basin. Yes, okay. And if we move on to the kitchen and dining with the scalar, let's start with the dining here. The dining, I'm going to activate the object tool again, open the settings, go back to this folder views. We have the layout, furniture layout. We have dining tables here. Okay, the challenge with this one is you cannot customize the position of the table, so I prefer to use a custom custom pieces to assemble my dining. I can leverage only the table. For example, let's just switch off the chairs and then place only the table like this, and the table can also increase its width to be 1 meter, just to have a little bit of a bigger dining. Control D, let's dock it against the wall somewhere here, and then I'm going to W again, keyboard, to repeat the previous command. Let's find chairs. For this, I'm going to go for, let's find something interesting. I don't know. Ooh. Let's go for chair 6. Where's chair? Yeah, we can go for this one, hit OK, then place it there. So let's mirror this to be facing upwards, then I'll Control D. Let's Control D to position this accordingly, stuff like this, and then I'm going to pick one of the points and multiply. Let's use multiply for the first time since this video. So for this, I'm just going to use increment and spread. Make sure you are under drag, because we're just dragging instead of rotation or elevation, for whatever reason. So keep as simple as this, and then hit OK. I'm going to start picking from this and create a little bit of a space, and then boom, we're gonna have 3 of this. Let's select all of them and Control D to group them. Control G, sorry, to group. Or you can just go to edit and find grouping and group. So you can come and ungroup here, or Control Shift G to ungroup. So I would Control D and move this right here. That means my desk needs to increase the length to 1.7 or maybe 2 meters. Let's see. Okay, maybe 1.9. Okay, so I can now take this chairs, make sure the suspend group is active, and then Control Shift M. I'm going to mirror a copy horizontal like that, and then make sure it's perfectly positioned. Stuff like this. That's my table. That's the dining table. I think I have an issue with this wall because the location was supposed to be outside. So let's unsuspend our group, then select this wall, turn it to the outside, right? Then I will have this wall to extend. Let's stretch it by using a stretch command in your pet palette. If you click on the point, it will give you the stretch command, and then I'm going to stretch it all the way to align it with this by hold shift in your keyboard. So from here, what I can do, I can now have a space between, a little bit of a space between the table and circulation space rather. This, maybe you can just drag it a bit somewhere there, stuff like this. So now let's move on to the kitchen. The kitchen, I'm going to use an object tool again. Let's open the settings instead of just using different, because if you look at the cabinets and shelf, we have no, the kitchen, we're supposed to have kitchen cabinets. Yes, you can use this to this single individual elements to set up your kitchen, but for the time saving, if you're just doing it specifically for your floor plan, if you're not going to render the kitchen, why are you spending time and creating a detailed kitchen? So I'm gonna go with a layout. Let's go for furniture layouts folder, which is this. We have a kitchen layout. In this case, we're gonna have, if you look at here, we're gonna have an L shape kind of kitchen. I'm gonna change the layout to L shape, right? And let's see what are the components that we need to fit. Move on to the next page. Because we have a scullery, some of the equipments I'm going to put them in the scullery. So here I'm going to have a stove, a refrigerator, and oven. The washers, dishwashers, sink is going to be on the other side. Okay, then hit OK. Let's hit OK to apply the changes, then play start. So if I cancel and then select this, let's Control M and mirror, or I don't know why my keyboard refusing Control M command. So let's just use this and mirror horizontal, Control D to drag it by this corner and place it to that corner. Perfect. So we need to have an access. This as it is, it blocking the access to the laundry. So I'm gonna pick this point and stretch it all the way to somewhere here. So this space will be left for the refrigerator, which is this item element. So if you click on this, it will give you the option to move the position. So I can move the position all the way to here, and I can also change the type of refrigerator. I just want a reasonable size. Okay, so just do that, stuff like that. Or maybe I can also increase the space, something like that. Then this I can stretch again like that. So this is the tall cabinet. It has to be positioned right against the kitchen. So I'm going to click on this and then reduce that. And this is the tall cabinet, the dashed one. So I can also have it all the way to the other side. And then this side is going to end here. The tall cabinet is going to take this position, and then I can readjust this to there, and then that to there. Perfect. So let's move the cooktop and position it to there. This will be the oven position. They normally share the same position, it's only the height difference. So I'm just gonna place it there. Okay, so perfect. So you see how long it took me to create this. Just split second. I'm already done with the kitchen. So I can copy this, the same setup, Control-Shift-D, copy it, place it here. Now, because we have different equipment, our appliances here, I'm going to go to its settings. We're not going to have the refrigerator, the oven. What we want is the washer and the sink, right? Yes, the sink. We can also choose what type of a sink do you want. I'm gonna go with the double with drain board, then hit OK. So let's stretch or find the washer. Where is the washer? Which one is this? The sink. I'll move the sink to here. I'm supposed to switch off the stove because switch off the cooktop. Yeah, so that the sink can be centrally positioned here. This will be what? This will be a tall cabinet. We don't have a tall cabinet for this section. I'm gonna go back and then find the tall cabinet on this page. Okay, let's go back. I think it's somewhere the tall cabinets. Make it 0. So hit OK, so it will disappear, and this will be the position for the washer, right? And then I can stretch this all the way to align with this wall. Perfect. I'm pretty much done with the setup of all the furniture. Here I can have some planting, plants and trees representation. So because I haven't placed my slab, I would activate the slab and then make sure it picks that. So for this area, this will be a this will be a slab. I'll activate the magic wand tool because I have this, or I can just use the geometry method of placing a rectangle and then draw a rectangle where I specify the first point and diagonally moving to specify the second point, like that. So I'll do the same for the other ones, and for the spaces or for the rooms I will have to use the polygonal method where I can go and specify all the points that define the footprint of this building, just like that, and quickly place my slab. So it's kind of a tedious process because you have to, you can imagine if you are dealing with a complex project and then you have to place the slab in this manner. It will take you a bit of time. So I hope ArchiCAD in the next versions it would really try to improve this and find a way, just like the staircase tool where you have associative elements like the railings where it can be placed automatically. So same applies to these walls. Once we have the footprint of the building, you can be able to place the slab automatically, and that will be associated with or associative with the walls. Okay, for this I'm just going to change. I'll switch to the rectangle because I just want to place it there. We have also a deck here somewhere there. I think, to be honest, this staircase has to start right here and then this extends all the way to there. All right. Okay, so that's basically that in terms of placing a slab one thing that we need to do here is to furnish this area. So I'm going to use a mesh because this is a landscape section. Let's activate a mesh tool, and then it does work exactly the same as the slab tool in terms of the geometry method. So I can just come here, just come here and then use this one, pick these points, something like that. Then place it there. We have, let's switch it to rectangle and place it here, something like that. Okay, perfect. So we have pretty much everything. Let's now do the trees. So I'm going to activate the object tool and then find, let's search for 2D trees. Click on this one. I want a symbolic. Let's just find an interesting style. I don't know which one should I go for. I'll just go with this one and then place a tree here. Select this, change, I'll lock the size for all the parameters, then set this to be 1.5, stuff like that. And then I can now take this and multiply like that, and take one of this, add a copy by control, then I can just place it there. I'll change the size to be maybe 800, okay, so that I can run a multiplication of this as well by using increment and spread under the drag section. So let's just do this, then drag it all the way to there. Make sure you take advantage of the selection and add this one, then group, Control G. It's always advisable to do that. It's a best practice because these repeated elements, for future editing purposes, you need to group them in order for easy selection. So I can suspend group and then I can get rid of this section because, and this one as well. Perfect. I can copy this, take this one as well and place it there just to create a little bit of depth. Perfect. So we now managed to fully furnish our drawing, and we'll moving into the very important stage, which is placing some annotations and to make our drawing fully readable. We have some fun in terms of that. We'll add shadows, we'll see how we can control the graphics of this and see what we can achieve. I'm going to start by numbering our spaces and then later create a legend to reference these spaces. The tool that I'm going to use is called Zone Tool. If you go to the Design Tool palettes, let's activate the Zone Tool. So if you come here at the info box under construction method, this determines the placement of our zone. So the first one is by clicking points by points and create a region for our zone. And then secondly is the rectangular method with a rotated angle. If you click on this arrow, you would achieve or get the rotated feature for the rectangle. The third one is the inner edge, where the zone will pick the inner edge of the space, but this, it will only work if the space is enclosed, like maybe here on the bedroom. So you see the space is enclosed. In areas whereby, like here, I think the best way is to use the first two. So the fourth one is more or less the same as the inner edge. In this case, I'm going to start by numbering from the front as I'm going at the back, because the numbering of this space is going to take that arrangement or that order, even though you can come and customize numbering, but it will be best to do it when you're placing your zones. So I'm gonna start here, and then I'm going to get let's go with the rectangle method, and then I'll pick this point diagonally and then specify the second point. Then I can just click with this hammer cursor inside. I'll automatically assigned or activated place a label for this zone or for this space. This is a feature that comes with recent versions. If you are using version 24 and downwards, so you would not get this feature in your ArchiCAD. So I'm gonna go ahead and then come here on the entry lobby and place a zone. Click here to place a hammer cursor. We have the prayer room there. I'll still use the rectangular method, and then place. Don't mind with the labeling. We'll come and readjust that. So this one is enclosed. I can go with the inner edge, then click on the space, then place by using this hammer cursor. I have this one. This I'm going to use a rectangle method because it's not closed. It's not enclosed, so I'm just gonna use that and then place. The lounge also is going to be a rectangle. We have a stair lobby there also. It's not enclosed. So for the bedroom, I'm going to use the inner edge, pick that and place. Same as to kitchen. No, kitchen is not enclosed. We have an opening here. I think the best tool is the rectangle. Let's start the kitchen here. Oh, sorry. Activate the rectangle. The kitchen, I think I should start with the dining. The dining will be somewhere here. That place. This will be the kitchen. I think this space we can pick the edge of the zone and use offset edge so that you can offset or stretch it to there. So just like other tools like slab, we can also modify the geometry of this zone manually like that. So you can even add points, a curve, you can offset all edges, you can create or subtract a hole or a polygon, or add whatever it may be. So in this case, I'll move on with that. I'll hit W to repeat the previous command. This one is enclosed. I'll go with the inner edge, then click inside the space, then place the label just like that for the bathroom. Okay, so we've managed to, I think we have also the outdoor spaces. This one we're gonna use the rectangle, place it here, and then we have this one as well there. Perfect. So we have our all spaces placed the zone. So what is important now is to number this, but I think the order that I was placing this, automatically the spaces were numbered. So if we start with the front, it's 01, 02, 03, just like that, 04 and 5, 6, 7 up until number 15. So what I need to do is to change now the label for all the spaces. So I'm going to pick a parameter for this, or I can just come here under documents. Let's collapse this design tool section, go to documents, and then activate the label, because this is a label. So if you hit Ctrl A in your keyboard to select all the labels, I can come here and then edit this label. Let's open the label settings from this dialog, and then I want to move down to the label custom settings, and then from here what I need to do, I need to get rid of a lot of information here. I want just to remain with the number, if you see here on the preview. So I'm going to get rid of the zone name, area, ceiling height so that I can remain only with the number. So if we move on to the next page's parameters, we have a frame style. So let's get rid of the frame. But here, in order for you to remove, we don't have a no frame in this list, right? It's because if you go to a text style section, you would find the frame is active, so you can just get rid of that from there. So now we have a plain number for our labels, so we can increase the size to 6. If it doesn't increase, you cannot see the size increasing on this preview because it's just a preview space. So we hit OK to apply these changes. We still have our text height small, even though we've set it to 6. I think it's because this parameter has been override in one of the section parameters. So let's go back to the settings dialog and then go down again below to the symbol label custom settings. If you move on to this page here, override text style. So in ArchiCAD, these pages, you can quickly use this arrow and click on it, then you can go straight to the section that you are looking for if you know them by the name or if you know what you want to do. So in this case, you see it says override style of first line, and I'm going to set this to, I don't know why, it was because of the scale. Let's make it 12, and then no, I'm changing the line type, I mean the pen size. I need to override the height of the font to 6. So you see there's a little bit of movement here. If you hit OK, there we go, we have our text height increased. So that is basically that in terms of this. What I need to do here, it's not pleasing to see the feel for the zone. So to get rid of this, let's go back to the design tool and activate zone in order for us to select all these zones. I'll hit Ctrl A and then open its settings. Let's open the settings dialog for this, and then under section for zone stem, floor plan, you would see we have the an option to add a solid line around our zone. We have an option to add a fill, a cover fill. So let's add a cover fill, and then the type of the cover fill we want is the airspace, right? Because we don't want to fill with anything there. And we're gonna activate the solid line. No, we don't want to see the solid line. Okay, and then if you hit OK, you would see we have an empty background for our zones. So the only zones that I want to have background is for the kitchen. So I'm going to find the kitchen zone. So at this stage of the project, it's going to be difficult for you to select elements, most especially those that are on top of each other, like in this case where the kitchen, we want to select the zone, but it's very difficult to select it just by clicking on elements, because you see now it picks a different element that we don't want. So in order, or the best way to select in ArchiCAD in this situation, you have to put your cursor there, and then you use a tab in your keyboard. There's this tab key. If you hit it just like that, it will go through all the elements that are in that area. If there are 10, it will go through them. So it's up to you to select it. Like, say for example, it's set zone, and then the other one that I want to do is the dining, because I want to add a pattern to represent tiling for this area. So I will also do the same tab and then zone. But remember, in order for you to add the second selection, you need to hold shift. I will hold shift, then that's when I can select this zone. Okay, so let's do the same for the scullery. I'll tap and then shift hold, click to select that. We do the same for this area because it's going to be tiled as well. Tap and then hold shift and add selection. We have another toilet here. Hold tap, hold shift, and then click. Perfect. So if we open its settings, what we want is to change the cover fill into a pattern that will represent tiling. So in this case, I'm going to go with a tile of 600 by 600. Okay, I'll go with 600 by 600, and then you can change whatever the what you call the pens for that. Here, let's go for something lighter. I'll go for 10 millimeters or even 13. Hit OK. Perfect. So you see now we have that being applied. In this case, we have to have the edge cover, or the joint between the tile and the finish of this area. If it's a carpet, you have to have a line there. So in order for me to achieve that, I will select this zone and then open its settings. Let's activate the contour. Okay, if you hit OK, the only challenge that is going to happen is here, because it's going to create that. I'll say let's undo. You can achieve it by maybe drawing a line. In this case, I'm going to break the rule and use a line tool just to represent this. Perfect. Okay, so that's basically that. Now let's create I think later we'll create a schedule that will reference all these spaces when we're creating when you're finalizing our layout. Okay, so the next one is to place labels again on the doors and windows. In this one, we will have to select all the windows or doors. Let's start with the doors. I'll go to design and then activate the door tool, hit Ctrl A to select all the doors. Right from here, what we need to do is to go to documents and then find annotation. Under annotation, you'd say label selected elements. So we've placed a label there. So if I hit escape, these are the elements that we labeled. You see, this is not the kind of a label that we want. What I need to do is to select all the label and customize or change the settings. So let's go to documents and activate the label and hit Ctrl A. Another tip is to undo and redo to select previously or currently placed element. That's another tip that I've been using for so many years for selection in ArchiCAD. So I'll open the settings and let's find a label for doors in the list here. I'm gonna increase the size of this window. I'll just go for a property label. There we go. And then this is the preview of the label, and as it is, this is not what we want. Let's go for some custom settings. Let's go down below here under symbol label custom settings, and then let's move to the next parameter, which is the label geometry. And then here what we want is to get rid of this line here, the leader. So I'm going to leader line, I'm going to unactivate that, and we need to choose the type of geometry or the shape for our door label. So it's grayed out because we have to go back to the text style section and then activate the frame tool. So now we have our frame there. So if you go back, you'd see we can have now option to choose whatever geometry we want to use. So I would like to keep the text of fit frame to text active because I don't want to modify the size of the shape. The shape is going to take its size from the height of the text. So I think this one I would say 0 because I want all the labels to be positioned on the center of the door, right? It makes sense. So because this is the frame distance from the element. So if you say 0, it's going to be right in the middle of or in the center of that particular door. So if you move on to the next pages, there's really nothing here to set other than hitting OK to apply your label. Currently, it doesn't look pleasing in your eyes because the door IDs or the door codes has to be redone because I'm having too many parameters on this. You see, D00000. That is not the best way of doing coding for our doors. So in order for us to fix this, let's select all the doors. I will go back to the design tool palettes and then activate the door tool, hit Ctrl A again to select all the doors. So from here I'll go to documents. Under documents, I'm looking for the listing extras in order for me to set element ID. So I'll open the element ID manager here, and then from this window we have sections. We have this section where we can create a criteria in which we want our IDs to happen. These are available criteria that comes with this. What I want to set, the criteria that I want to have is all the doors that are on the same size, same shape, to be on the same ID. So I can only do that by adding the criteria here. So let's remove this. By default, we have width and height criteria. So to add them, you come here and then find width, then add height, then add, so that we say all the doors that are the same width and same height, they are going to be assigned one same ID. Okay, so from here, once you're done with the criteria, you can go here and make sure the option you choose here is set the same ID by criteria. Do not use unique ID, so it won't serve the purpose of making a criteria for width and height. So I'm going to go to the ID format. Under here, because I'm dealing with doors, I'm going to override or change this to D, right? So that it can be D01 in the preview. Okay, so if you go here and then say change IDs, so you see now D01, there are 3 doors under this code. Door 5, there are 2 under this code, and then I can hit OK. Now I'm pretty sure that this criteria works very well, so I would say OK to apply the changes. Now we have a little bit of a huge difference than what we had before, as you can see that. And some of these door labels I'll have to manually address because of that. I will just select the label. Select the label and then drag it outside your door. Same to this one. This I'll put it inside the building. This also, because it will pick the center of the door, but we have different door types here. That's why it behaves like that. I think pretty much straightforward. Let's move on to the windows. Okay, windows also I'm going to, because we now have a label that we set before. I can pick parameter of this by alt holding your keyboard and then go to a window tool, because we don't have to reset again, go through the process of customizing this label for our windows. We can quickly just adjust maybe the geometry only. So let's select all the windows by Ctrl A, and then from here let's go to the documents, annotation, label, selected elements. Okay, so there we go. We now have our the labels placed. So as you could see, our IDs for the windows are also horrible. So let's go back to documents and then listing extras, element ID manager to modify that. Already we have a criteria set, thanks to God, and then we can just go to ID format and make sure we change this to W, because we're now dealing with windows. And then if you say change, you see all these are being grouped according to the width and height. So hit OK. We have that in place, right? So from here we need to select all the labels and then set the distance between the element and the label. So I'm going to go down to the document section. Let's collapse the design and then find the label, hit Ctrl A. The tricky part now, we have different types of labels here to deal with. We're going to have a problem. So in order for me to sort out this problem is to group this element according to their section, right? What I can do, I can start with the zone label. Okay, there is a selection criteria let me try see if it can help in this case. If you say Control F, it will give you this find and select window. So in this case, we can say element type is, we can set a criteria, sorry, for our selection, right? In this case, if you pick parameter, for example, here of a zone label. Okay, let me say zone label. I don't know why it's not picking it. Okay, maybe let's pick for a door label, right? And then I can add another criteria. Maybe let's say model view. Let's find something that will be library part name. Library part name. Let's find something here. I think we are limited for zone. We are limited with our parameters for selection. So there's really nothing we can do here. Okay, this won't work. So I would redo and redo again. So still I'm not selecting. So I'll have to select all this manual. So I'll have to go through that. So make sure you shift hold, and I'm lucky that, oh no, not for the doors, just for windows. Just for Windows 7, something like this, and then I'll group by Control G in your keyboard, or just go to Edit, Grouping, and Group. Okay, so from here I'll do the same for doors. Let's do the same for the doors. We could have done this earlier, but we've learned the hard way, which is good. Once they're all selected, you can group. Okay, I think this one is not part of our windows, right? So if I unsuspend group and then group again to add this to this group. Okay, so now I can easily differentiate or deselect or select this element according to their criteria, right? So what I wanted is to select the Windows label and then define the distance between the element and the label. So let's go to the settings, and then here this is where we set. So I also go for 10 millimeters. Yeah, I think it's good enough for that. Perfect. We've placed all our labels, and we can move on and do other things like dimensioning. But for the windows, I would have to have a different geometry, maybe just to differentiate. Oh, we have another window here. Okay, this is under door. This should be under a window, not door. So I'll group it alone so that I can remove it from that. Okay, let's say group these two, and then let's go back again and suspend all the groups so that all the windows can be selected. And then I'll hit Group G, Control G to select, and we also need to set its distance from the element by 10 millimeters. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with the results so far. So what I need to do is to change the geometry of this label, just to have or to differentiate the label from the door labels. So let's go back and open the settings, change the circle to whatever. You can go to oval. I'll go to let's find something different. Let me go with this one. Yes, perfect. But I can again, instead of fitting frame to text, I can, let's go back, I can change this rule. Okay, here I see. Yes, I can say this instead of let's find just hang on a bit. Yes, they are all selected, right? Let's go back to the settings, and then I don't want to fit the frame, and I'm going to define the frame width or the size manual. So this I'm gonna make it 13 and maybe the height 8, just to create a little bit space around the text. So if you hit OK, perfect, that's what I wanted. Okay, and again you see our text have been aligned to the justifications from the left. So we can come here under the info box, under text element, text alignment, sorry, align this to center so that our label can look presentable. All right, so pretty much happy with the result so far. So we'll move on to the next item, which is dimensioning. To place dimensions, we need to I'm going to use or pick the best method to do dimensions. So the best method is to select, for example, I'll start with this line. With this line of dimension, I'll select this wall, but make sure the suspend group is active so that you can select a single wall. And this one, I'll select this wall. Oh, sorry, not the line. We're just going to select the wall that are affecting this section. The vertical ones, I'm interested on the thickness, right? And then the horizontal one, I'm interested on the length, okay, for my dimensions. So pretty much everything that I need to place a dimension. From here I'll go to documents and then annotation again, automatic dimension. So let's go for exterior dimensioning. We have options here, options for the dimensions rows. We have 4 rows that will define our section. Pretty much I think here I'll just use the default settings. I can maybe, if not, maybe not, the size or the distance between the rows. 500 I think is decent enough. So if you are to place, you would have an option to place dimensions on all 4 sides, but this will create a lot of problems because you do come and have to fix the errors that comes with that. It will create a lot of errors because if you were to select the entire project and then place dimension, so it will pick random points that will create funny dimensions like 12 millimeters, just stuff like that. So I'll just do it side by side in order for me to do a legit job. So I'll hit place, then I'll draw a line first that defines the length, and then I can place it here. Perfect. So I can pick parameters of this, select this by picking the first point of a selection and then across our, just like in AutoCAD. So from here you can Control D and move your dimensions, distance, whatever distance you want. In this case I'm going to just make it closer to my labels that way. I'm not going to have the leader extended like this, and then I have an issue here for the dimension. It says 0.300. This is not what I want. It's in meters instead of millimeters. I'm using millimeters for the project. So in order for us to fix this issue, we need to it's either we change our units by going for options and preference working units, then but here it looks everything is fine because we're working from the project map, right? And if you come here on the view map and then open this, let's go to the view settings down below and the properties, and then you see we have our dimensions in plain meters. We need to change this to plain millimeters and then hit OK. This will automatically adjust our drawing, our dimensions accordingly. So another thing that I need to change is maybe I want to go with a different style. Instead of this architectural ticks, let's select all the rows again and then go back or open its settings dialog. From here I don't want to have the dynamic height, so I will use this custom height. And the other thing that I need to do is to increase the height of text a little bit, maybe 2.5. okay, then go down to the I want to change the marker type to dots. Okay, so if you hit OK, this is what you get. But we have a funny dimension, so let's go back, because I want to have these lines to be extended at least somewhere there, and then increase the size of our dots as well. So if you go back to the dialog settings and then change the marker size, this will be for the diameter of the dots. So let's make it 2, and then the custom witness length, line length, let's make it maybe 20. Then hit OK. Okay, I think it's too much. Our artificial dots are too much. You can reduce them maybe to 1.5. Yes, I think it looks pretty much better. It looks great. So I think I need to create a little bit of a space between the window label and these dimensions. Let's select this, Control D, and then drag it a bit. Perfect. Okay, we still have our text. Let's see, we still have our text very small, so we can go back again and change this to 3 millimeters. Yeah, I think we have to lend to this text height. So I'll move on to the next side, select the length, wall, and I'm interested again on the thicknesses of these horizontal walls. So once you're done, go to Documents, Annotation, Automatic Dimension, Exterior Dimension. Let's hit OK. Then I'll draw a line that defines the length of that side, and then using the hammer cursor to place it. Okay, but in this case we already set the standard on which our dimensions we want to be. So I'm going to pick parameters of these dimensions, and then Control plus Alt to inject those parameters to our newly created dimensions. So I'm going to move to the other side like that. This wall, I'll pick this one. Let's find this for the thickness. Documents, Annotation, Automatic Dimension, Exterior, and then we can hit OK, draw a line that defines the length, then place the dimension. Then I'll now finish for this side. Okay, so that's pretty much about dimensioning. Let's move on to the next stage, which is going to be we're going to create a legend to reference the description of these spaces. But before we do that, we need to assign also the description to the actual zones for this space. We didn't do that. So if I to start here on the front, let's tap, like I said, to select the zone. You see it says just zone. So this one is going to be entry. Okay, I'm gonna use caps. This is going to be entry, or I'll just say porch, and then number 2, tap, select. This is going to be lobby. Let me say entry, and then we move on to the third space, which is the prayer room. Fourth is going to be guest toilet. Fifth is the outdoor or veranda. the lounge, it's the lobby, the bedroom, this will be ensuite. We have dining, and then kitchen, laundry, and then we have this area also, outdoor lobby or whatever. Let's say patio. This will be, say, maybe I'll just give it garden. Okay, so once you're done with that, let's create a legend for this. I'm going to use a schedule. So let's go to the project map, and then I want to scroll down here under schedules, right? And then we have elements. Okay, we have by default schedules in this list that the default ArchiCAD templates gives us. So what I'll do, I'll right click on it and then say new schedule. Okay, so in this case I'm gonna just give it an ID, maybe let's say I'll say LG, just for legend. Then here let me say legend again, then hit OK. So in this scheme settings window, we have the criteria section and then the field section. The criteria is what we set to derive. What are we going to schedule? So in this case, we have a criteria set by default, which is element type for all types. We don't want all types because we are specific. We want zones. I'm going to change this to a zone, and then I'll come down below to define now the section of our legend. So I'm going to add a field here. I'm going to find element ID. I can just say ID. No, zone ID. It's supposed to be zone number. Sorry. Yeah, zone number. And then add another field for the zone name. Let's add field. Okay, so basically having a number and a zone. That's basically a legend to reference our floor plan. And then hit OK. By default it will be added here. We have a schedule now to open. Let's double click on it and open it. So by default ArchiCAD will give you this horrible schedule. We need to, let's double click on this margin to fit in our text, and then I'm going to get rid of the header, same as to the zone name header, and then reduce the section to at least 1. Okay, so I will select one of the cells and come here under cell border and get rid of the cells. Same applies to the header. Let's get rid of the border. Okay, that looks, I don't know why the numbers are not being derived here. So let's go back to our scheme settings, and then let's remove this and add, let's find zone number. We are under zones, right? Oh, sorry. Add field. Zone number is the last in the list. Let's add it there, and then I want it to be the first in the legend. So let's use these 2 arrows and drag it to the top, and then hit OK. It should be fine. Now we have all the numbers, but I need to just clean up the header because I just want to keep it clean. I'm gonna remove that, and we have our legend. I can make the title bold or the header and make sure it's centered. Yeah, okay, this is our reference. let's see. If you go back to our layout now, this information should be updated. As you can see, now what we need to do is to maybe centralize it to the space. I'll pick this point and then use the move sub element so that you can just move only the inside of our drawing, something like this. Okay, what happened to our north? Oh, let's just fix this. I'll move it somewhere there. Here is the space that I'm going to place the legend. Let's go back to our project map and then drag and drop the legend here. If you zoom in there, we want to get rid of the border by just clicking one of the points and use the offset all edges in the pet palette. So let's just get rid of that. It will remove that line, and then we're going to get rid of the title as well. Scroll down in your info box and find the section for title. Let's make it no title. Okay, so I could see the size of text. We can increase the size of text if we want, but I think it's fine, should work. So you can now try to perfect the position for it. Okay, pretty much decent. I think it's fine this way. So let's go back to our floor plan view. Now we're doing the last part of this section of the demonstration, which is the graphic presentation for this floor plan. So we're gonna use graphic override combinations to override the graphics of our floor plan. So if you come here down below, we have the graphic override section. So let's click on the arrow and then let's key in. We have by default list that comes with the ArchiCAD. So let's click simplified. This is what you get, but it's not the ideal presentation that I want. So what I want, for example, is to make the furniture in different or lighter pen. The openings as well should be on lighter pen to create a little bit of depth to our drawing. Even the dimensions, all the annotations elements should be in a lighter or gray pen. So that's what I would want to override this. Same applies to all these trees. Okay, so let's see how you can achieve that. I will come here on the icon of the graphic override combination and click to open this window. So you see this, the list of all the graphic combinations that are available here. We have the simplified plan selected. The best way is to respect the structure of whatever ArchiCAD attributes have been created. So we need to duplicate this instead of overriding it, right? So I'm gonna go here under below and say new, then duplicate simplified. So I'm going to call it let's call it my first override. Then hit OK. So what we have in the rules of this, we have, like I said, the list of the overrides combinations, and then we have rules that defines this particular graphic override combinations. So in the rules of my first override, we see we have the all cut fields are solid black, right? Which means all the cut elements in the plane or in the plane view are going to be solid black. And then we have all cover fields to be transparent. Cover fields is going to be for slabs, items like zones, stuff like that. And then we have all zones fields transparent. This is specific to only zones. Okay, so what we need to do here is to create another rule for furniture or for the annotation elements. That's what we need to do. So in order for you to create, you can come here, you can come to or go to edit rules. Okay, and then from there I'm going to create a new rule down below. Then let's give it I'll say annotation. Okay, I'll just say annotation gray, then hit OK. So we have a criteria of all the elements that we want to affect. So I'll go for the what you call the here in the list door, and then add another element type criteria. I'll add 3 of them. Okay, let's go for window. The other one is the object, right? Okay, we can start with these ones for now. We can come later and add if we want. So now let's override the attributes under override style. So I'm not going to override the line type. The line type is to be dependent on the element line type. So what I want to override is the line marker text pen, right? Just interested on the pen. So make it let's find 13. Looks fine for me. And then hit OK. So we now need to add that annotation rule in the list of rules for my first override. So let's go here to add, and you'll find it in the list, which is this one. I will just drag it to the top. Let's drag it to the top. That way, if you hit OK, you see your elements will be affected. Pretty interesting, huh? Very good stuff. So you see we have elements like the labels that needs to be in that category. We have the dimensions. All right, let's go back and add that in our annotation gray rule. So I can just come here and then edit this rule to be specific. Add another criteria for element type. We're going to start with the label, and then add another for this is going to be for the dimensions. Hit OK, and then OK. There we go. We have all this being affected. I can also add the staircase if I want, because yes, let me just add the staircase for that reason, and then this line for the void. Let's go back, edit the rule, add another element type. I'll add 2, the one for the polyline, because that one was made. I think we can go add more here and access more of this parameter. We want polyline. Let's go back. We want stair, then OK to apply those changes. Perfect. So that's what we want. You see, now we've affected the numbering of our spaces label, because it's under label, so it's going to be affected. In order for us to separate it from this list, we have to create a layer specifically for this. So I'm going to go to my layer settings, under options, element attributes, or layer settings. So you can just hit Ctrl L for the shortcut. So let's create a new layer for zone label. Oh, sorry. Let's say zone label. The layer is existing, so let's create a different zone number label. Hit OK. Then make sure under drafting layer combination is active, so I'll just hit update. Sorry, make sure it's active here. Yes, then OK. So let's go here and activate the layers. Hit Ctrl A, and then now deselect the unwanted one by hold Shift and click that, because I've grouped this, so it'll be easier for me to. Okay, you need to do it when the suspend group is active, so that you can just do all once like that for also for the windows. Okay, now we have the label for the zones active. So let's come here and assign it the zone number, but it was assigned. I don't know why it wasn't created under the zone label. Strange enough. Okay, so you can go back to our graphic override combination down below here and then edit rule. We're going to use that layer as a criteria. So I'm going to say add. This time around is going to be under model view. Find the layer element and then let's go for zone label. And because we don't want to affect this, we're gonna say is not, right? And then hit OK, apply. So boom, we have our zone back in the black and bold pen style. So we have this as well for the railings. We have the railings to be added again on the annotation stuff. Let's go back and add another criteria. I don't know how many elements can we have in this criteria section, but it looks we can add more. So let's find the railing. Okay, perfect. Okay, so once we're done with that, we have an issue here for the tiles that we were representing using zones. Okay, to bring our tiles back to this specific areas, we need to set a criteria that will exclude this from being override. So let's go back to the override combinations, and then I think under the zone fields transparent, we have to, or maybe no, I think it's all cover fields, right? Let's edit this rule and then all cover fields, but here it says it's not zone, which is fine. Let's see for the cut fields, right? So we're gonna add a criteria of element type, then we're going to say is not zone, then it's not. Hit OK. Let's see. Okay, let's go back to our zone graphic override combinations. What we need to do is to get rid of the all cover fields. Let me remove this rule, and then also for the zones, let's remove also for the zones and then hit OK. There we go. We now have our tile back. Okay, so we have this line is thick. I don't know, because it's not a polyline. So what I need to do is to delete this line. I'll draw it using a polyline because I have a criteria that override polyline to a gray. So that basically that. Okay, so now let's do one last thing, which is going to be which is going to improve our presentation. We're going to add shadows to this plane. Let's add shadows to this plane. And ArchiCAD doesn't have, like I said, it doesn't have a feature that can create shadows on the plane view. So in order for us to manipulate this is to create a 3D plan view and then create shadows on that and copy those shadows into this plan view. So I'm going to try replicate that. So I'll activate the 3D window, and then let's double click here, and then let's scroll down that way. You see our what you call this the elements are not sitting in the right positions because we've been working only on the plan view without considering what should be on the 3D. So we can adjust this first. Let's just draw this. I'll move this to there, and then we'll take all furniture, or we can say the height of this is 900. We can take all the furniture to be at 900, right? That will quickly address that. This also needs to be at this level. This I'll make it 800. Yes. Okay. And then the doors are going to start Let's pick all the doors and make them start at 900 as well. And then the height of the walls should be not link, I'll make it 3. Yes, that's basically that. This will be ground. Perfect. I needed to fix this in order for these shadows to work accurately. So now let's see how we can customize that. I will go to the window menu and then toolbars. Let's bring in 3D visualization. So in this case, I'm going to set a 3D cutaway first. Let's create a 3D cutaway. I'll drag this cutting plane, drag it up until it cuts your doors and windows. Yes, and then we can release it, finalize it. There we go. So we can go here under the 3D projection settings and parallel projections and custom axonometry, choose top view. So if you hit OK, that's basically what we have in terms of the plan. So what we need to do is to activate the shadows. So I can come under the view, 3D view options. We can say simple shading with shadows. We have shadows already there. Then we need to convert this into a 3D document. So I'll right click, then say new 3D documents, call it a plan, then enter. Okay, so we need also to override or make some changes here. So if we select the 3D documents under 3D document section, let's right click on it and go to 3D document settings. Let's find, we want to override or customize the uncut elements and activate the shadow. That's pretty much what we want, the shadows. And okay, there we go, we have these shadows. So in order for us to get the shadows to our plan view, we have to place this in a, let's place this in a layout, right? I'll just bring it here. Let's drag it and place it there. Let's see the scale. I want to see the scale 1:100. Okay, so I'm going to right click on it and then explode this into this current view, then hit OK. Should be done exploding. I can delete the image or the view, then I can copy or move these elements. Let's cut them to Control X to the plan view. It looks okay. From here, let's go back to the plan view and then paste it here. Right, there we go. We click outside the MyQ to complete the pasting commands. So if we zoom in there, some of the information we can get rid. Before we do that, we need to rescale. We need to scale this to the reference, right? So I will select the drawing and then Control K to bring the resize window, or you can just go to edit, reshape, and then resize, right? So from here, what I need to do is to resize with the thickness of the wall. So I'm gonna pick it from this point, then the second point, then I can key in because I know the thickness of this wall is 300. So that will create okay, so we have our drawing resized. What we need to do is to only select the shadows and then bring them to our actual floor plan. It looks heavy because there are a lot of fields on it. So what I need to do firstly is to unsuspend group, activate this as unsuspend group so that you can select these shadows. I can see they are, let's see, they are not, everything's on one layer, so there's really nothing we can do in terms of separating it. I would hold shift to add all the shadows to the selection. Stuff like this. Select all the shadows. Okay, so from here, okay, we have this one. You can Control D in your keyboard. Then I would use this corner and move it right there. So make sure you group them for future selection. Okay, you see we need to bring them forward. Let's select all of them, and then I'm going to choose a 25% of shadow. Right click, then bring everything to front. Okay, so we see you still have a horrible presentation. What you need to do is to change this color to black, and then this one is going to be transparent. Perfect. So we see now we have this grayed out. If you want, you can also change reduce the thickness of the intensity to maybe we don't have anything less than 25%. So you can go to your fields if you want. If you go to fields under options, element attributes, and then fields type, this 25 we can bring it down maybe a bit by, let's go for 17, then hit OK. It looks decent. Perfect. So if you go back to our layout, that will be updated. We didn't update also the, I don't know, I didn't update the layer combinations, I mean the graphic override combinations. So if you go back here, then set the graphic override to that, and then from here we open the settings of this view and change the graphic override combinations to my first override, like that, so that it can be activated on our layout, as you can see. Perfect. If you are still watching, you are part of the faithful family of Mesolite Visual. Because of you, we can create more videos and offer insightful knowledge about ArchiCAD. Thank you for being part of this family. I wish you a prosperous life. May you receive wonderful blessings today, and all the best to your career. Make sure to subscribe, share, and like this video. Thank you.